Hi, everybody. This is Mama Cheryl, and this is Meet the Fam.
So I thought, what in the world is the gift my father's going to give me? And he said, the gift I'm going to give you is I'm not going to pay for 1 cent of your Bible college. He said, you'll be in Bible college with people whose parents are paying their way. And he said they'll have extra time and they won't take it as serious as you. But he said you'll have to get a job and you'll go to school in the mornings and work in the afternoons and do your homework when you get home from work. And he said it'll be hard for you, but it will help form your character. So there'll be times where you think you're getting ripped off, but in the long haul, you'll thank me and it'll make you a leader. And so at the time, I wasn't that thankful. I wasn't that surprised because, of course, I knew my dad pretty well at the time. And so anyway, I worked my way through and stayed up late and worked hard and paid for every cent of it. And I'm thankful for the character built in me. But anyway, during that time, I got to know Steve real well, and through Steve, got to know you and the rest of the family.
So I'll just say that he came home with my brother to live at our house. That's how I actually got to know him. He came home one summer in between
second, third year.
Yeah, second and third year of Bible college. And it was the year that I was graduating high school. So I was about to graduate high school. He was just after his second year of Bible college. He moved into the house that we were living in. Yeah. And I was not quite out of my Christian school yet.
Yeah.
It was my senior year.
Yeah. And
I remember telling my Bible class, pray for the guy that moved in our house. Why would I have had them pray for the guy that moved in our house?
Well, the guy that moved in your house, first of all, I had a pretty good job. Steve was going home from Portland to Salem to cut firewood for his dad and help clear oak trees off this land that his dad, your dad, was clearing. And Steve somehow thought that I wanted to leave a nice job inside an office with air conditioning. You got to work out in the sun. When really, I gave up that job to go live with your family so that I could get to know you. And he never suspected that. Now, your dad was cagey enough to figure out what was going on, but Steve never once suspected it. And so I quit my job, which again was a good job and perfect job for college. I went back and was cutting oak wood. And the first day that I was there, we were cutting with big steel chainsaws with long bars on them, and it was really hot. And there was a piece of wood that was just a cut off branch that was jabbing me in the back of the leg. And I was cutting a big log in half, and I kept trying to get it untangled from my Levi's. And I looked down and saw it, and I lifted my knee up to get away and run my knee into the chainsaw blade. So it cut 2 big old gashes in my leg because just knee-jerk reaction. I hit the saw and I jerked back and ran that stub into the back of my leg and then tried to pull it off. And so I hit the chain twice. So I didn't know that your dad was queasy at the time.
My dad and me don't do blood at all. Not at all. We don't do blood. If you're bleeding, don't get us to help you. My dad's in heaven now. But I pass out. I'd be just like, no, out cold. My dad was the same way. So
yeah. So anyway, I had Levi's on. So, when I stood up straight, you had to look to see that I was bleeding because it was all running down into my boot, down my leg. And so I went up to him and
Talking about big,
those
big
26
openings.
stitches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep, big openings
Yeah.
a chainsaw would do.
So anyway, I went to tell your dad. I walked up there. He said, "What's going on?" My chainsaw was off. And I said, "I'd like to take the rest of the day off if it's okay." He said, "What?" He said, "It's only 11 o'clock. And I said, "Well, I hurt myself." And he said, "What do you mean you hurt yourself?" And I said, my leg. And he looked down and he said, pull your Levi's out. Let me see that. And when I did, he didn't hit the ground, but he almost hit the ground. He just went completely white and turned around. I thought he was going to throw up. And he said, "Let's get you to a doctor." And by the time
my dad was a big, strong, buff, burly guy.
Yeah.
He was not a little faint wimp, but blood would take him out.
By the time we made it to the truck, he was too sick to drive. And we all loaded up the truck. Steve was driving on the way to the hospital. And your dad said, I hate to do this to you. Is there any way you could take me home before you went to the hospital?" I said, "Yeah, it's not a problem."
That's my dad. And
we drove him home.
So they take him to our house. And Steve drives dad to drop dad off before they go to the emergency room where Dave is still bleeding like crazy.
Yeah.
And what did my mom do?
Your mom came out and started poking around in it. She's totally the opposite.
Yeah, she'd be getting a fishing hook and sewing the thing.
Yeah.
So funny. That's like opposites attract.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So anyway, that's why you told your class to pray for me. I had stitches in my knee. And
that's my first
26 stitches.
Yep. My first deep memory is telling my my high school Bible class, pray for the kid that just moved in our house. He cut his leg with a chainsaw 2 times. And that was my first real deep memories.
Yeah.
And then we're sitting around the dinner table one night and was it me? Oh, I asked. I said, "Anybody want to go play tennis?" And my brother's like, "No, I'm tired." And I was used to Steve wanting to play tennis. I'm like, Steve always was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's have fun." And he was my buddy. And he's like, "No, I'm really tired. I'm really hot, really tired." And Dave would say, "I'll go." I'm like, "Okay." My brother's not going. You can go. Then the next thing I'm going to go to the World Map church meeting.
Yeah.
And Steve's like, "I don't want to go." And Dave would say, "I'll go." So that was our first dates. They weren't official dates. They were me thinking I'm going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And Dave said,
your dad figured that out because he knew how hard we were working. Steve would go to sleep right after he ate, Yeah. And then one day Steve said, "How do you have the energy to go play tennis with Cheryl after work?" And I said, "It's not about playing tennis." And he said, "What's it about?" And I
That's
said,
my brother. That would be my brother right
I said,
there.
"Really, Steve?" He said, "Yeah, really. What's it about?" And I said, "I like your sister." And he was so shocked. He said, "What?" I said, "Steve, I was a salesman for instrument sales and service. Do you think I actually wanted to come down here and work out in the hot sun all day long?" And he said, "I thought you came down because I was your friend." And I said, "Well, you are my friend. But the reason I came down was to meet your sister." And he said,
Ulterior motives.
"I can't believe it. This whole time you had an ulterior motive." I said, "Not an ulterior motive. You're my friend. I thought, that I'll go down there and work with Steve and meet Cheryl and see what happens." And so then he said he didn't really get it. He said, "Well, don't hurt her." And I said, "Steve, I like her. I'm not going to hurt her. I like her." But anyway, he was rather disillusioned at the time. Your dad was he was smart enough to figure out what was happening. He was ornery enough to give me a hard time constantly over it. So then you went down to your arranged marriage.
My parents had a guy picked out earlier from Miracle Valley that really I had met him one time and I thought he was a great guy. That's all I knew. He's from Miracle Valley, played the piano, and lived on this big old ranch, 2,000-acre ranch. And my parents said, when you graduate high school, we'll send you down to the family. And, it was kind of interesting. Anyway, that being said, my dad and mom decided I graduated college or high school, and they were going to send me down to Cody's family and see how that meshed.
Yeah. So at that point, we'd quit cutting wood to build some pole buildings. Your dad had some pole buildings lined up. They were mainly like wood sheds or hay barns or things like that. They were just to keep the rain off something, and they were we were building them together, metal buildings. So anyway, he would go out of his way to say, well, I wonder how Cheryl's doing with her new family. And he was just grinding me,
Yeah.
But anyway.
Before I ever left, I wrote that young man a letter, and I said, I met a guy from Bible college. I really like him. I think he might be a good fit for me. And we've been playing tennis together. And so I am coming down there. My family had this all planned. We all had it planned. I'm coming down there, but I do want you to know I have a really good friend. And so that's how I headed to Arizona. When he came to meet me at the airport, I thought, nope, I'm not doing this. I only stayed one night, and then I ran away to my aunt's house. I was like, help, I need to move on.
Tell him about his little brother. And
yeah, I got to the house. It was like the Waltons. They all lived on 2,000-acre ranch. They all had their own houses on the ranch. And when I walked in with my suitcase, his little brother, Sam, came through the front doors and yelled, Cody, where's your wife? And I thought I was going to die. I was like, oh, my word, I'm not his wife. I don't know how this happened to me. And I actually told him that night, you know what? I don't think that I belong here. I think my little sister would, but I'm not the one.
There you go.
I've always been throwing her under the bus ever since. The truth is, it was a great environment and a fabulous family. I just knew it wasn't the setting for me. Yeah. And my little sister was 2 years younger. I thought she'd be perfect for this. He's a nice guy. Cody was a really good man. Anyway, for me, I knew I needed to get out of there, and I already had decided I really liked Dave, and that was our beginning. So. Yep. Pretty funny.
Yeah. And then you tried to pawn me off on your cousin at some point.
No, that was later. I forgot about that part. So, that was about the same time. It was
about the same time.
Dave wanted to go to a rodeo, or I did, or somebody did. I don't know who. So the Pendleton Roundup. Yep.
Yeah.
Nope. It was right there in Oregon. I can't remember. It was a rodeo we went to a lot.
I think it was a John Day Roundup.
Yeah, I can't remember.
But anyway.
Might have been. So anyway, we decided to go and bring my cousin. I have a cousin about my same age, Kathy, and her brother, Bobby. And so at that, I kept telling Dave maybe he would like Kathy. Oh, my goodness. Pretty funny, actually. And he's like, hey, I can figure out who I like and who I don't like.
Maybe you ought to worry about who you like and let me worry about who I like.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, he wasn't impressed with my matchmaking. Anyway.
She's been matchmaking ever since. But
for other people, not for him.
Yeah.
Not for him. I'm good on that. So we figured that part wouldn't work out well for me. So, and then Dave and I, he talked me into going to Bible college, which was not what I wanted to do. I thought when my brother went to Bible college, he had been my best friend, and he went to Bible college, or at least very close brother friend. I had a best girlfriend as well, but he was my very close friend. He went to Bible college, and he got all caught up in all this religious study in my world. I was like, Steve, he became less exciting. I was always trying to do fun things, and he became less interested in all the fun things that I wanted to do, and didn't want to even play tennis anymore or any of the fun stuff. So Dave decided he thought I should go to Bible college. I'm like, I do not want to go to Bible college. I'm going to Point Loma to play volleyball, and my girlfriend was going to go as well. And he talked me out of it that summer, talked me into going to Bible college. So my dad said, I'll absolutely pay your way. Absolutely. Let's do it. Why don't you go to Bible college up there? And I got up there and I was working, I was going to Bible college and working at a place called Pappy's. I was a server at a restaurant, and I thought, you know what? I'm doing the wrong thing. I'm wasting my dad's money. I need to go home and earn a car because the guy I'm about to end up marrying doesn't have a vehicle or a bicycle. And this isn't going to work out that well for us because somebody's going to have a vehicle to get us around. So I went home 6 months into Bible college. I told Dave, I'm like, honestly, everything I'm hearing here is what I heard all through high school. And I think I should go home. And I was distracting him. He's easily distracted sometimes. And I was distracting him. He was a straight A student. I thought, I probably should let him do Bible college. I'll go home and so I bought a new Honda. And it was a great little car that we got married and had.
Yeah.
So we got married 2 years into that.
Vehicle, yeah.
Yep. Bought our first vehicle. And tell them about your planning for our engagement getaway.
You mean for our honeymoon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. Whoops. We didn't get away on our engagement.
That's because the Bible college we went to, it was not apropos. They wouldn't allow you to announce an engagement while you're in Bible college.
Wouldn't even let you go on a date. You had to bring what we called a duck with you. So we had a third party on every single time we went anywhere. There's always a third party to keep you safe. So what can I say?
Yeah.
So we didn't have a getaway on our engagement. That's for sure. We decided we were going to get married over Christmas because you could get engaged over Christmas break, but you couldn't get engaged during Bible college. School. You couldn't get engaged other than you had a 2-week window that you could get engaged in. So that made good sense.
Yeah. One of the many rules that made good sense. But anyway, we got engaged that Christmas and planned to get married right after school was out, which we did immediately after school was out. And that was on May 17th.
Yep. Actually, the way that went down was Dave wanted to get married the day after he graduated. He was the not the valedictorian. He was the student body president of the Bible college. And he was going to be the student body president of his high school class. And then his parents moved him away from the girl he probably would have married had they not moved him away from her. But God intervenes. What can we say? So moved him to Portland, where he didn't graduate with the class. He felt like a fish out of water. And really, it was not that wonderful of a senior year.
No,
right?
it was a rough senior year. My high school basketball coach, he volunteered to keep me so that I could graduate with my classmates that I'd been with my whole life and play as a senior on the Emmett Huskies. So, but anyway, my dad vetoed that. So yeah, it was a hard season for me. I lost my place in high school sports. I was the captain of the team and lots of friends, and suddenly I was in a big city and a huge school, and everything switched. So it was a hard time for me. But anyway, I made it through and went to PBC and found you and got married. And
so getting married. So he wanted to get married the day after Bible college. I told my mom, she said, that's ridiculous, Cheryl. I wanted to get married in an outdoor garden. And that was one of the things I wanted. I'm like, let's get married outdoors. I don't want to get married in a stuffy church, right? Not interested. I want to have beauty all around. And so we found a rhododendron garden, absolutely beautiful. Decided we would get married there. It was actually absolutely gorgeous. And my mom said, Cheryl, it's Oregon in May 17th. Yeah, that's not a time to get married outdoors in Oregon. It's going to pour down rain on your wedding. And me being wired the way I'm wired and all the precise details of life, I just said, Mom, let's get umbrellas. It doesn't matter. We're going to get married. Dave wants to get married May 17th. That's what we're going to do. It's fine. Let's just go with it. Guess what happened? May 17th, we had amazing, fabulously beautiful wedding. A horse and buggy took my dad and I in and took Dave and I away, and it was absolutely beautiful. And the next morning, we're flying out on our honeymoon, and
as we were flying out of Portland to go to Kissimmee, Florida, go to Disney World and all the things down there, the plane suddenly swerved, and it was a major course change suddenly, and the captain came on, and all the seatbelt signs were on, and he said, "We're sorry for the abrupt course change, but we're making history here. The plane is flying around the plume of an erupting volcano." And that was the eruption of Mount St. Helens. And I don't know how many feet up we were flying, but when they got the plane turned, then we were able to look out the windows and see this plume that was going clear up above our flying altitude. And it was quite sensational.
so the week we're on our honeymoon, we come home and we get extra week in Chicago, I think it was, extra days or a week in Chicago, because the Portland airport is still closed. And all of Portland was covered in 1 inch of black ash. No more summer weddings all summer. That happened May 18th, 1980, when we were just married one day. And so it was the last good day to have a wedding. Little did my mom know that was the only day that we could have had a beautiful wedding outdoors. And we just laugh about it. I laugh about it and say God was celebrating and saying, oh, this is going to be a ride, buckle up, because we're putting two complete opposite personalities together as one whole. And Dave and I got married, and it was hilarious because for me, I'm very, I don't know how you would want to call it, but I like excitement. I like everything, I'm very, not excitable, but I just have a lot of get up and go.
Yeah.
A lot of
spontaneous, energetic,
very
funky, ornery,
all of those. We get married, and I show my husband something, and he said, well, Cheryl, what do you want me to do? Stand on my head and clap my feet? I was like, uh-oh, what does that mean? He's like, this is as excited as I get about things. And I said, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You remember saying that?
Oh yeah. I remember you saying, do you like it? And I said, yes. She said, you don't seem like I like it. I said, what do you mean I don't seem? I just told you that I liked it.
I think it was a meal.
And she said, well, you don't seem excited about it. And I said, this is about as excited as I get, but I do like it.
And then I would be we had the 3 kids. He's working, oh my goodness, 18-hour days.
At Frito-Lay.
And I would go with him until we had our first baby. I would go with him and help him on the route because he's going to be gone from 4 in the morning or 5 in the morning until 6 at night. We did Bible college. He taught Bible college, youth group, home group. Every night was something that we were doing for the church. And so I thought, if I'm going to see my own husband, I'm going to go on his Frito-Lay route with him, which was illegal, but I did it anyway. And we had a lot of fun. It was actually very fun. And so then we had a baby, and that changed all of that. And so then he would come home, and say, I'm going to go on a walk in the rain. And I'd think, you're going to do what? And he'd say, I just need time alone. I'm thinking, time alone? What are you doing?
That was after Frito-Lay. Usually came home tired, but that's after I went to work at the church.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we moved out to the house that your dad built.
Dad built us a beautiful house on a waterfront, absolutely gorgeous, which we moved a year and a half into living there down here to Yuba City. And it's amazing. God actually brought us down here for great purposes. I am delighted. When Dad built us a new house, he wanted to build it. It was him that came to us and said, I'd really like to build you a house. And I thought, okay. And Dave was, of course, thrilled. And, really, my dad was an amazing, wonderful kind-hearted, fabulous man. And he's like, I just live with you and we're going to build you a house. And he brought his business partner and they both lived
George
with us.
Ivanovich.
George, yep. I love George.
Wonderful,
too.
wonderful man.
And so we all worked on that house and built a house on 2 acres on the water.